And action. That's Cloud Rider, a song of myself. I recognized it. I had like a motto. It was like spring, printemps was the motto a little bit. And even before I knew that I wanted to take a lot of time for it this time, because the last two ones were just somehow made in between very heavy touring. And yeah, that's the key. I'm very satisfied with the outcome now, because I had often time to put it away for a month and then get to it again. Like a good old wine, it needs time. I was always like a quick worker and stuff, you know. The electronic music is also somehow made for a quick way of working, but it's the key is that it's so much time in it this time. That was the key point, to play much less this year, also last year already, to have time for the production of this album.
And we built our castle in the skies and in the sand. Design of our world.
Yeah, Sky and Sand. What should I say to that? Also having this experience not to play at all for like a year or something, with the preparation for the movie and then the shooting, and also something what's so different. It's just work-wise, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, shooting for 15 hours for several weeks. I couldn't do this always, so just for some time. So it is always more that then the movie and how it went then with the movie, this is almost synonymous with the track, but I see it more than in the Berlin Calling context. And yes, it changed my life. It brought it to a wider audience, I think, on a click, while my actual moving forward was always in smaller steps. And also since then, I try to make it in smaller steps. I would not want to shoot again. Maybe if someone like creates like shooting plans for me where I can arrive like at regular working times, what are my working times, and also spend it over much more days, but no one would invest so much money. There's daylight, you have to shoot. And I'm not really, I could do this for a couple of weeks, but I'm not really creative in the morning hours. Fritz Kalkbrenner, Ways Over Water, his last album. Maybe for some years not very easy for him to be the smaller brother and trying to do their own thing, especially now with the sound he found. You know, it's not mine, but yeah, since he's like doing it really like unattached on his own feet, very, very, very good. He's a 4-year younger brother. When he was very small, I helped him a lot with everything. So and they asked about like how now you're conquering. It could never occur. That is just another relationship. I did this on a professional level much earlier in my life than he were able to do it. So he went through a lot of other stuff, what was also maybe forming the character. So when I make music, I have to be alone in this room with the music. We had this like when we were younger, you know, like making some songs in the studio together, you know, when we lived with colocateurs or somewhat. It was never nice to having to make a compromise, even about the smallest things. How to mix this hand clap now. The compromise is not my thing to do. My music only comes when it's uncompromised in that way. That makes it very difficult for any collaboration, yes. As Kraftwerk, das Album Autobahn, yeah, was before my time. When people of my age say, yeah, and I've got very much influenced by Kraftwerk and the stuff before I came to techno, it's often a lie, because you are, of course, more, you know, what you hear as a boy in the radio. These things come much closer to you without any, I'm listening now this and that. So it's actually much older people who can say they had Kraftwerk as young people in their life and it brought it to them. Maybe different than people would consider it. I have actually not such a big connection with Kraftwerk. It was already when we started with techno as like 14, 15-year-old boys in the beginning 90s after the wall came down. This was already some West German from a generation or even two before. So there was and techno was trying to go much ahead of Kraftwerk in terms of beats and everything. So it was never something what had actually the influence what maybe people think. German guy, techno, no, actually not. Kraftwerk helped Germany to come on the spot on the map, to I don't know what was known, maybe Marlene Dietrich, but beside that I think nothing else worldwide was known from Germany music wise. David Bowie heroes. Yeah, also before my time, he was in Berlin, he lived there, but it was West Berlin. It was not even reachable. I also lived in that city, on the other part at that time, couldn't go to him. I was also a little bit too young, so. But yeah, he has like a strong, maybe that's why you played to me, very strong Berlin relation for someone who's not German as an artist, also in his artistic work. And he's cool, so. I'm never never his music had any influence on my music, but like just by he built up for himself. When you say the name, very respectful. I mean, the ball came down when I was like 12, 13 years old, so it was fortunately it was early enough for me that I did not really have to grow in the organizations of the state. It was a great childhood there, before the age comes when you ask question how and where what. Even maybe in terms of what kids like to do, the socialist way, it was even a little bit funnier, and combined with a lack of resources here and there, the idea of like being more able to repair things and to organize from here and there outside of a world what you or in West Germany could experience already in the 80s or even earlier. Plus the things who were not used to happen anymore in West Germany or France, like end of the 80s, like horses couch bring the coal to heat. This is something I saw with my own eyes. The East Germans escaped the country every evening through the TV, So, like, I would say 90-95% in the 80s at least watched West German TV. There was not much to think about the paroles of the state and stuff when you saw the one when you actually, saw that. And I think without the West German TV, like being already like in Berlin there, they had their studios there and in the 80s, it was like better with traveling, especially for them. Maybe they would have shot that down like in Beijing just a couple of months earlier. So it was the West German eye already on East Germany to help preventing stuff like this. New Order, yeah. The dancing is one of the constitutional thing of that entire thing. Without dancing, music wouldn't be like this to dance for. So it's like to ask what's there, the egg or the hen, what's earlier there. So the same as it with techno and dancing. It was always this in the early 90s, then in East Germany and everywhere, those raves to dance especially crazy, also with especially crazy dressings, like with like, I don't even know, with like dustbusters on their back. That was a big thing in 1991. Yeah, the dancing to let things go, let things out. Also dancing apart from when dancing is actually figure dancing, where you have to dance after certain steps, like a waltz or foxtrot or any classical dance. Maybe it's not even dancing. I can understand the people who do professional dancing and say, this is not dancing. Maybe it's not. It's something else. It's nothing after steps where you follow, no? It's just something much on a much deeper level of 1, 2, 3, 4 or something is making you move. And this one, yeah. It's called also dancing. Yeah, Vitalik, the master of the of the unmelodic melodies. That was also ruling for a sound. I think then from 2003, 2004, like also many others tried to copy this special Vitalik sound. But it's also unreached. He has his very own way of doing this. It's also what I try to do, not being the best or whatever, but just for a sound that people know that's you. He has that too. Yeah, I mean, you had Germany turned immediately to the techno country, and French is in some parts still like there's this big house music thing, and that's what makes it a little bit different. I mean, I have a lot of friends among the like Vitalik or Agoria or others, and it was also often here, also way before the Berlin Calling. I played like very big shows here. It was like sometimes even bigger than it was for me in Germany for some years. That's Mike Oldfield. That's actually from one of his Tubular Bells from the very old record. Because I had just a very few records, what I could listen sometimes on the turntable of my parents. And there was a Mike Oldfield record among it, but it was QE2. And I love this music because I had no fears of liking Irish folk music because I was too young to find something cool or uncool. So this music I really liked. And then also breakthroughing was that at the end of the back of the record, it said he does that all by himself. Like timely separated from each other, being multi-instrumentalists, but playing it track by track and being able to mix it together. And deep inside, this is something I always wanted to do. So, without even knowing how it will be then with the techno equipment and, but just a way that you don't have to be part of one orchestra, because I played the trumpet. My parents would have been very proud of I would play the trumpet among 50 others in the symphonics. But I like always to do things by myself. So this was very inspiring in a way, just to read it and ask myself how, with this, there's some technique, what can do it, but you're not really sure how it's done. But it's possible. And this was something he gave it on my way. I never wanted to be in a band. The dynamics of a band, when you're young and you like the same music maybe, but seeing it from now, these are, let's say, 5 different people with five different views. As I said earlier, it's very hard to have another person in the studio, just be able to work beside him. That's very hard. And I can understand when the bands break up, I know why. I can tell exactly why, because it's actually a big achievement to stay together for one album, one tour, and just continue this. It's 5 different people or even more. So it's something I knew I was never able to fit in or to do well. Und eine neue Runde. Ennio Morricone. To Ennio Morricone, I have to say, I'm not really a guy that had idols all over the career with music-wise. But if I really would have to name one, like the most influential musician of the 20th century, it's this guy. Not just the stuff you know from the very successful movies. No, the stuff like horrible B movies from France and Italy from the 70s, like with teenagers and stuff, with soundtracks one after the other. He made after the 100th album, he forgot how many albums he actually made. And I saw him live this year in O2 World in Berlin with a huge orchestra and choir.